Of course, you don't have to be rich, you don't have to be famous to feel the emotional impact of betrayal, the heartbreak of divorce. It can happen to anyone and does happen to anyone. Psychologist and early show contributor Dr. Jennifer Hartstein joins us now with more on that. You look at the situation, though, that Maria Shriver specifically is facing. So she learns about these infidelity issues. She learns about a child, fathered with a woman who was part of their household for 2 decades. This all on the heels of losing her parents. When you put all that together, I mean, how much more difficult is it to have all this on your plate at once?
Right. I mean, one of those things is hard enough for anybody to navigate. Now you keep piling it on and piling it on and piling it on. Many people would really crack under that pressure. What's been amazing in watching Maria Shriver is she doesn't seem to have at least outwardly cracked. So hopefully we would think she's got some people that she's leaning on. She's got to be so numb to all of this at some point, and she's got to be trying to figure out what is happening and how to move forward.
And who does she trust moving forward?
I mean, and of course, because here her husband she couldn't trust. Someone in her inner circle that was in her house for 20 years she couldn't trust. So who does she lean on? She has the benefit of having a really close-knit family that she can rely on. She probably does have long-term friends that she can still trust, but it's going to take some time, and she's going to be questioning these relationships a lot and asking people and double asking people and triple checking. So it's going to take the time for her to build that back up.
She mentioned in her statement, too, she was most concerned about her children. As we look at the kids, they have 4 children together. 2 of them have now taken to Twitter, talking about it on Twitter. Patrick Schwarzenegger actually changed his name there to Patrick Shriver. This is a whole new world with social media as people deal with things. Does it help or does it hurt?
It could go either way. It does bring the public more into their space, which may not be what they want, but this is how kids communicate. So they are reaching out for support. They are getting their allegiances out there, and that's how they're communicating. So we have to expect that that's going to happen. We have to question, did he choose a side by going to Shriver and taking off the Schwarzenegger? We don't know.
Well, and do you think, too, I mean, would there ever be a point that you could see a parent, because parents obviously look at this much differently than kids do, because this is how they communicate. It's not how parents communicate. Where it might be worth going to them and saying, you know what? You're hurting. We know it's rough on you, but maybe best not to put it out there.
And that may be what happens. I think the knee-jerk reaction was to throw it onto Twitter, but it may come back that either that post might come down or they may be asked to please don't do that anymore. This is a family matter. Let's keep it in the family.
And how do they then, these 4 children, 14 to 21, deal with the issue of how they deal with their dad, whether they forgive him, whether they trust him again?
It's all a process. They're all in this process together. Arnold has come out being contrite, being apologetic, but he's going to have a lot of rebuilding to do. He's going to have a lot of work to do to show his kids that he is still the same guy, and he's going to have to communicate to them and deal with their anger, be able to handle that, not get too defensive, deal with their questions, be open to that. And he's really going to have to be present and accounted for to anything that they throw at him.
You know, in the days leading up to this, we were talking so much about long-term marriages that had broken up. You know, the Gores, 40 years. We see them, Schwarzenegger and Shriver, 25 years. What is it that drives people to cheat?
Well, in these situations, we're also talking about power.
I do want to clarify. I didn't mean to imply in any way that there was cheating. It's just that we were talking about long-term marriages.
Right.
That was more
the
focus.
breakup of long-term marriages. And I think that there's a couple things. With the cheating situation, there's a power situation. And there's that we can't deny that people in power tend to cheat more. There's been a lot of research studies supporting that.
Do they think they can get away with it?
They think that maybe they can get away with it. They think they're above the rules, all of that stuff. I think also in long-term marriages, when you're out of maybe the public eye the way you may have been, when that's where your marriage may be developed, you now are stuck in your marriage and have to focus on that, and you don't really know what to do. And you don't really know how to interact in the way that you did when there was maybe a political office or a high-powered job. And that often brings in all the little problems that might have gotten overlooked before. So we have to stop and think about what those problems might be.
It's just fascinating and heartbreaking all at once.
Absolutely.
Jen, thanks as always.
Thanks.